Jim likes to talk about the big pretty picture. I like to talk about the little finite things, in that everything that Jim said is correct, but everything that Charles and everybody has said is just like the tip of the iceberg. Because for me, PhD is the word, push your dummy. This deck becomes that for any Avid editor, and it simply replaces the HDSR. One of the best things that I like about it is there's no red channel conditions. We don't waste 2 hours putting on a tape to punch in after we've laid off a 2-hour tape, because all of our shows are either 2 hours or 1 hour. And oh shit, during the credits, guess what? Red channel condition, start over. And we're stuck there for another 2.5 hours. Other things that are fantastic about it is we usually have to put out mono stems for FX and dialogue and stuff like this. We can make a 22, 24, 20 channel master and put out all of our stems in one shot, instead of supplying all of our associates different stem levels for what they want. When we pass it off to Brad, we can hand him a 20 level and tell him, okay, on these dubs, we need these 6 channels. For Canada, it's 6. For the internationals, it's 4. They can take it all off of one master instead of us having to encode various masters. We also, for our sake, have one master, what was it, VMM, virtual master. We'll do one of those. We slap all of our international tapes on the end, or all our international slates on the end, and let ADS handle that. So when they go back and they do the masters with the correct audio, Jim just puts out the dub order with the correct audio that they need routed for each one. They handle all of that. So we literally put out one master now. But we're able to put out all the stems that we need for multiple masters. As far as insert editing, that has been the godsend for this. The HDSR, my rule was, if it was, as everybody said, 1 minute for a punch, if I had 60 punches, which is completely doable in our show, might as well just output the entire episode, because that's going to take 60 minutes. I might as well roll 70 minutes to make sure I don't miss anything. On this one, I completed 70 punches in under 30 minutes today and got it out. The advantage to that is, on the HDSR deck, I'd go back and find the nearest cut for each one, lay it over to make sure that I didn't get tape slippage or a hit or anything like that. You don't have to do that on this. If I've got a lip flap that's 3 frames, I can go 4 frames on either side, hit it, and go, and then hit the next one. It's really quick. It's instantaneous. Unlike the XD cam, where if you're doing something like that, it's doing a bridge file off and it comes off. This is still just one file. It's literally one file that we then take over, copy over on a set of on another drive, send off to the audio. The reason why we do that, as Jim's favorite thing is, if a bus hits our PA on the way to levels, what are we going to do? Well, it cost us 20 minutes to copy the file. It didn't cost me another $200 to run off a second HDSR if the PA got hit on the way to levels. So we've saved a life, we've saved the tape.
And we killed the PA.
And we killed the PA.
But, and we're also noticing that just in the last couple of sessions, the reduced shuttle time, because there isn't any. It's like we have a fix here, we have a fix here. It's like, oh, well, let's do this now because we have that one. I don't want to rewind all the way there. We'll just wait. It's like, no, we can go here and jump back, and it's the same. It's like they're all right next to each other.
Fixes, on the other hand, are also another benefit of this. In the past, the HDSR would go to levels. It would come back to me later that night with additional picture fixes, because EPs like to do that when they're in mix sessions as well. So we'll do additional picture fixes then. That would then go over to ADS. That had disappeared. The following morning, I get a QC report. Hey, we've got some horizontal blanking on some of this. We've got this. We've got this. Can you fix that? Yep. Send the master back. Master gets back to me about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. We get the fixes done. It gets back to them maybe about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now I get the report. They're now QCing not the HDSR and then the file they make after it. They're QCing the file. And then I'm getting the picture fixes by 3 or call for picture fixes if there are any, by 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I walk in at 8 o'clock in the morning, make the fixes. I literally go in and grab the little fixes and put them up on the FTP, and they download it and they pop it in. Because all they got to do is QC that part. So our fixes are done by like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning, if there's a bunch of them, if any. So for us, the format has opened up the availability of being able to provide international with multiple stems, for us to speed things up and to get things out, and for us we do two-hour episodes each week. And last week we actually did 3 2-hour episodes. So for us to save half an hour to an hour just shuttling back and forth making picture fixes inside of a day is brilliant. As I mentioned, not having to go back to the nearest editor on each one is also very helpful in that it speeds things up. But we have not found any QC reports that have caught audio pops or any insert video edits or any slippage or anything like that. It simply clicks and it goes right in.
To clarify something, when you're talking about going into the nearest point, you were always going back to an actual cut point from shot to shot. So you're talking about, let's say you have a 30-second shot on one camera, you can cut in the middle and you don't see any level shifts.
Correct. No level shifts in the video, no tape slippage or anything like that. We've got a director, during the live shows, this was very helpful. We have a director who loves really long dissolves. And we'd get shots where a cameraman would walk in and we'd have to repair that for the West Coast and for the international. And we would sometimes have to roll back on the HDSR 2 to 3 minutes to find where he cut into the first and he cut out of the last and lay all of that off to make sure that we hit everything correct and it was accurate. We don't have to do that on this. We can cut in the middle of a dissolve if we really want to. We're not seeing any jumps in any of the luminance or any of the colors or anything like that. The other thing is with the red channel conditions, I just freaking hate that on the HDSR. But we would hit it to the point where we would have Universal pull the deck, send it over, get it clean, have ADS qualify it, bring it back to us, and if they set that off on another rental, we make them do the same thing again the following season to make sure that the deck was clean, the heads were good, and we weren't going to run into the problem, and we would still run into the problem every once in a while. Bad piece of stock. There's nothing random about this, but a bad piece of stock screwed us up like during the live shows where we had that.
Yeah.
And when we're trying to make the Singapore, which is 2 hours after we finish, that's extremely
They're on the air with the episode within 48 hours of its broadcast in the U.S. So when it doesn't show up on time, I get a phone call.
We also get a lot of calls on for publicity, where a lot of the different shows will want. Well, we want Apple ProRes, we want it on Avid format, 145. We run DNX 220, all this kind of stuff. We're able to now output those to this instead of having, not a PA, but the AEs exporting those things out, and that's also made it really quick for us.
The goal is basically to get the show delivered first, and I think as we start thinking about it, we get more of the AEs trained on the box. We might start saying, well, great, we can do it that way instead of you exporting.